Now I think we have our last speaker of the first panel, and Ihsan, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you clearly. Thank you very much.
Perfect. So, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I wished I could have been able to join you in person, but unfortunately I couldn't. I listened very closely to the three esteemed speakers. I share with them on a number of points, but let me at the beginning just make sure that I'm here as a member of ASPAR. ASPAR is a think tank, a Saudi independent think tank, and I'm here in that capacity. Second, I agree with the as I mentioned, with the three colleagues, but also I would like to agree on certain points relevant to trade and the importance of trade, and hence the importance of supply chain. For a country like Saudi Arabia, trade is extremely important. Our exports equal about about 42% of Italy's exports. It equals about 4.5 times of New Zealand's export. And primarily, many think that what we export is only oil, which is not correct. We have non-oil exports of about like 100 to the tune of 170 billion US dollars. So it is important for us. And not only that, but also in 2016, the kingdom launched its Vision 2030. And the basic driver for that is for this country to be diversified and does not rely only on oil. And that's a very tall order for us and relevant. So even though that the Saudi Arabia now is a member of the G20 with a GDP of about $1 trillion US, but that's not good enough for the future. So the issue of supply chain came, like taking another look for it as early as 2016, that certain issues relevant to logistics need to be addressed as well. But now with the advent of COVID, everyone was impacted. And it showed that developing as well as developed country really paid a high price, and certain supply chain apparatus were in shambles, complete shambles, you know, fragmented. I agree with the Ambassador Anthony that we are looking at global, and supply chains will always be global. But I think with a different architecture, global, but with a different architecture. An architecture which is a distributed network with various hubs. And to be practical, what we aspire to be in Saudi Arabia as a developing country is to be a hub in this network. And I think we cannot emphasize certain elements and say this is the element, meaning risk mitigation is important. But as you know, risk is a quantum. So we cannot say there is no risk or there is full risk. So it needs to be classified low risk, mid risk, high risk. But also you cannot say it is communication only. Communication is important, not only as a human skill and value, but also technology-wise. And with the technology, specific technologies like IoT, advanced analytics, big data, these are extremely important for for the advancement of supply chains for the future. Why is that? Because now the biggest worry and the most visible lesson or takeaway from COVID, and even the war going on between Ukraine and Russia right now, is visibility. So say a certain firm would like to have full visibility of the product from the beginning to the end, from the planning until that product reaches the end user. And then maybe even after that, after sales service and so on and so forth. But also we have another challenge, which is the challenge of investment. So, okay, you need to do things differently because you are convinced now that you cannot follow the robes of the past. So that you need technology, you need to train people, you need to develop certain skills or upskill. So all that needs money, require investment. But not every other country does have the investment. So that also need to be looked upon, because it'll be a challenge. Why? Because we want a different supply chain system and architecture. That system is a network with number of nodes. These nodes are, some of them are small, some of them are big, some of them are hubs as we aspire to be, and all that require investment. So the issue then, the issue of financing will come to the surface. What need to be done? What are the requirements of having the global supply chain system of the future? I will try to be. I prepared like extensive notes, but I'll try to be. I know I'm at the very end of the session, so I'll try to tell you briefly, maybe in 2 minutes. So what are we trying to do here in Saudi Arabia? And please do not look at that as I'm trying to. It's an example, exactly how we, looked at the issue or the problem in 2016, and tried to learn a couple of lessons from what's happening in global economy all along throughout these 7 years, and then what's going on in the global energy market with the COVID, after COVID, and back to normality, and then the new advent of energy shortages, talking about sustainability. So it was only about 4 days ago that Saudi Arabia launched, through its crown prince, a global supply chain initiative, stating what needs to be done, providing financial incentives and non-financial incentives to investors who want to be part of this ambitious hub. Of course, this is very well warranted. The location of Saudi Arabia between the major three continents is a basic ingredient of this. And also, as I mentioned at the very beginning, trade is major to us, oil and non-oil. So we like, what we have in mind is almost to double our GDP by 2030. So it will be dependent not on oil, but in being able to re-export, export oil and non-oil, and also being able to host investors from all over to manufacture, to assemble, to have representation, their regional headquarters. So it's all that. So and this initiative is a part of a bigger strategy, which is the national investment strategy. So this is, we think that way will be able to help, believing that the solution is a distributed solution rather than the continuing the same with the centralized supply chain apparatus. And of course, this is the biggest risk here, that the will for certain countries might not be there. The plan and the preparedness of certain countries might not be there. And the means, and in particular, financial and fiscal space of certain countries might not be there. And we believe that, you know, collaboration, and maybe in this session we can, through the questions, if there's time, we can address this. Collaboration of firms, of countries might provide for that, and to avoid some of the pain experiences that the globe is going through right now. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much to Ihsan as well.
Good evening. My name is Francisca Pinaville. I'm a second-year student from Corporate Governance, and my question is mostly from our guest online from Saudi Arabia, and it is the following. Considering the ongoing expansion of green economic success over the traditional industry, how much is Saudi Arabia considering, especially in the 2030 program, to double the GDP, this green economy? And overall, in which specific fields of industrial fields? And finally, how Saudi Arabia is thinking of redistributing this economic growth? Thank you.
Okay, so we start now maybe with Ihsan from Saudi Arabia. So would you like to start answering? There are at least 2 questions for you, but you can answer to all of them if you would like.
Yes, thank you very much. And thank you for the questions. And also, I really enjoyed the answers by co-panelists, very interesting. But let me start by saying, you know, even we've here with colleagues, we really looked upon the idea of friendshoring. For one, I think it's sophomoric and putting things in the, when we were talking about trade, putting things in a very simplistic, from my estimation, with all due respect, in a very simplistic context. In trade, it seems to me, you don't have to be friends, but not to be enemies. So, you know, it's okay to trade with everyone unless you have a compelling reason. Why? If you see, as the more we put barriers, the more things will be expensive to the end user or the final consumer, and then that will enhance inflation, imbalances in markets, inefficiencies. So we need to look at it that way. Plus, when you're talking about friendshoring, so today I'm your friend and tomorrow I'm your enemy. So what's going to happen? So the risk matrix will be impacted. You know, as you know, the basic issue for any good economic policy is to be stable to the extent possible. Now, to answer the questions of the great questions of the students, you know, what's going on, the first question, what's going on regarding oil, it really depends what you're reading. So it has the issue, the decision was an OPEC plus. It was agreed upon by all members of the OPEC plus. It was an economic resolution more than anything else, based on the you know, balancing the oil market, because as you can see, the global GDP is just going in the other direction. Every other global organization like the World Bank, the IMF, as well as major global banks, Goldman Sachs, and so on and so forth, talking about a recession. Look at the performance of the USA economy, the situation in Europe where you are at right now, and with China, you know, they were celebrating 2 days back when they achieved 4% for this quarter or the past quarter. So all that will, you know, at the end of the day, it's supply and demand more than anything else. The relation between the two countries, United States and Saudi Arabia, is strategic and will stay strategic. You know, if in the best interest of the two countries, for it to be revised, that's always welcomed. So it will be maybe healthier, stronger, but this is all what I have to say to that question. Now, regarding you know, the Vision 2030, it's yes, it is an ambitious vision. It's not only a vision, but there are you know, at the end of the day, what matters is realization and execution. That vision is based on 11 realization programs. They're working, and this is relevant to your second question, in different directions in order to really make the difference and influx the change. One of the major programs is the Industrial Development and Logistical Services Program. It is relevant to the supply chain, our topic, as well as to diversification relevant to the non-oil manufacturing at different. So you have their petrochemicals as well as you know, industries that are not so much dependent on natural resources. Also, one of the programs, I'm not going to enlist all of them, but just to give hints and to answer, trying to answer the question fully, is the Human Development Program. It's to enhance the human capital of Saudi Arabia and to make sure that the citizens of Saudi Arabia are global citizens. This is very ambitious. And as I mentioned, investment is always important. So key to that vision is the National Investment Strategy with number of initiatives, 40 plus initiatives. One of them is the supply chain initiative that I've mentioned. It is very demanding, but we feel being here at the center, not far away from the Mediterranean, not far away from the Horn of Africa, not far away from Asia, major economies there, in particular, say India, and a bit further, China. There is a lot, there is vacuum, and there is a role that can be played by Saudi Arabia in collaboration with others, of course. Very quickly, by the way, to talk about the crypto, the question on crypto, what I feel, and this will support what my premise that I mentioned during my interjection, it is not a crypto per se, it's blockchain. And as you know, when you're talking about blockchain, you are talking about distribution at the heart of it. So you have smart contracts, you have distributed finance, DFI, and so on and so forth. So it seems to me that the trajectory is blockchain technologies. It will serve distribution, and by all means, it will help to have a network, very well interconnected global supply chain system. Thank you very much.
Thank you.